A top Biden official has been caught lying on national television. And it's not like it's that uncommon because many critics have called out the administration for the many lies that they've pushed upon us. There's the lie about Bidenomics making the economy better. Or what about how the previous administration left office with the economy in shambles? The lie about costs being affordable now compared to a few years ago. And of course, we can't forget about what they're saying about our borders, about how secured the United States is, even though they left our front door practically wide open. Now, according to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, it's not their fault that immigrants are rushing to enter our country, that this isn't because of the policies of the Biden administration, even though he put forth multiple executive actions to cancel policies left by Donald Trump to avoid the issues that we're seeing right now. It's estimated that millions of illegal immigrants have now entered our country. Many experts believe that this is now a national security risk, and former border agents agree that they're now entering a point of no return, and that it's going to take leadership change in order to address what's happened to both our borders and to our country. But if you ask Mayorkas, this isn't their fault at all. So here's his response to allegations that the Biden administration has been encouraging illegal immigrants to come to our country.
That is false. If we take a look at migration, not just at our southern border, but in context, the level of migration throughout the hemisphere is unprecedented, and throughout the world. It's the greatest level of displacement of migration since World War II. I think there are about 73 million displaced people in the world. The reasons why people leave their countries of origin are those with which we are quite familiar. Extraordinary poverty, violence, extreme weather events, corruption, suppression by authoritarian regimes.
Secretary Mayorkas then praised the administration's performance with dealing with the migrant crisis, despite the number of people attempting to game the asylum system.
We have done an extraordinary job to deal with an unprecedented level of migration, Camillo. The reality is that some people do indeed try to game the system. That does not speak to everyone whom we encounter, but there is an element of it, and we deal with it accordingly. And importantly, the bipartisan legislation that failed today for the second time would have equipped us with more tools to deal with those individuals who seek to game the system.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the reasons that he gave for why people are leaving their countries are actually happening right here at home. And he, along with Senator Chuck Schumer, they keep insisting that they need to pass a border bill in order to help our nation. But the president is more than capable of signing executive action to limit the influx of people right now. This has led many critics to say that the only migrant who's gaming the system is Mayorkas himself. Now, what's concerning is that we're seeing more and more individuals who don't seem to need asylum. Within the last 3 years, the number of Chinese nationals who have crossed our borders illegally have spiked by 7,000%.
Migrants from China are now the fastest growing group of people entering the United States illegally from Mexico.
China?
Why are we seeing these growing numbers? Here's what we know.
New York?
Customs and Border Protection reported more than 24,000 Chinese migrant encounters at the southern border last fiscal year. In 2021, that number was just 450.
Did you just arrive here in the United States?
The migrants previously told News Nation reporters that they're escaping the Chinese Communist Party and plan to seek asylum in the United States.
向往美国的自由.
Yearning for American freedom.
Some fly to Ecuador, where no visa is needed, and then travel north. Others are flying into Tijuana Airport before being guided across the border by smugglers. The Chinese migrants are reportedly willing to pay cartels up to $35,000 for smuggling services. And for a lot of them, it pays off. More than 50% of Chinese asylum applications were granted in the 2023 fiscal year. That's much higher than the average across all nationalities, which is only 14%. So why are these migrants seeking asylum instead of trying to enter the US legally with a visa? One possible reason is that the United States tightened visa restrictions for people from China over the last several years. In 2016, the US issued 2.2 million temporary visas. In 2022, that number dropped to just 160,000.
In fact, the number for fiscal year 2024 has already surpassed the total number apprehended for the entire year of 2023. But Mayorkas is outright lying to us right now, and he's saying that the Biden administration is doing a good job, that they're not encouraging people to come into our country, despite us knowing that they've flown illegal immigrants from all parts of the world without having much identification provided. And they've done this using our taxpayer money, which now begs the question, are they using our funds wisely? Now, many experts disagree with their budgeting strategy, especially the part where they've provided billions of dollars to proxy wars while Americans here at home struggle. The idea is that these funds could be used to help those who are in poverty, to assist our homeless veterans, maybe even boost the benefits for those on Social Security, SSI, or SSDI. But this is not happening, and it has many Americans questioning whether we should still be paying for our taxes or not. Polls released earlier this year shows that a majority of people here at home say that we're paying too much in taxes. At the same time, we're not getting enough in return. We also have to address that the goal of the Biden administration is to get the border bill passed. The one thing that's being advocated by the likes of Chuck Schumer and Alejandro Mayorkas. The problem is that it's not a border bill. It's an immigration bill, one that Senate Republicans are pushing back on. And House Speaker Mike Johnson has already said that it's going nowhere within the House as well. Mike Johnson also blasted President Biden for his anticipated announcement to tighten our southern border. The speaker said that the president is desperately trying to show us that he wants to address the issue that he himself created. Do you agree with that idea, that the border issues that we're now seeing was created by this leadership under Biden? Now, what's odd is that the bill that they want to place would actually make the illegal entry into our country much more efficient. It would basically have a goal to accept 4,000 illegal immigrants per day. The bill would also prioritize processing centers and immigration judges, policy changes that wouldn't really address the core issues. And many experts claim that this isn't a White House problem. This isn't a Democrat or Republican problem. This is an American problem. It's one that concerns all of us. And yet, mainstream media is telling us a completely different story. The narrative that's being set right now is that the White House has worked enough to lower the illegal border crossings. The term mostly used was that the numbers are rapidly dropping, and that this alleged drop in numbers is a good thing for the incumbent president as he makes his way toward the 2024 presidential election. Write-ups have also come out that the idea from the opposition that Biden has left our borders open would be considered useless by November. That's how much they're trying to spin this idea. But here's the thing, guys. Americans are not as dumb as they want to think. A recent poll shows that more than half of the country supports mass deportations of illegal immigrants. 42% of those responding to these polls are surprisingly Democrats, which speaks volumes, as the survey also showed that the biggest concerns were surging crime rates, drugs, and violence, all three being a concern of many sanctuary cities. It's also coming out that the blame is being pinned on President Joe Biden, that he's at fault as to why this is America today. But what are your thoughts on this, guys? We all know that the only president who's in favor of mass deportations is former President Donald Trump. However, it's still a big question as to how all of this will be done if ever he wins by November. But the real fact remains is that we have a huge problem on our hands, one that has been created within just a few years. Now, I understand we have different opinions and perspectives on this matter. My job is just to give you guys the facts so that you're aware of what's really going on. So I just want to thank y'all for hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing and sharing this video, and I'll see you on the next one.